Sure enough, there he was. William inside his iconic golden body.
Before we get to the video, quick shout out to all my Patreon members. Shout out to all these legends, man. Thank you guys for supporting me over there. If you are interested and want to see reactions like this way earlier than when I post them on YouTube and without no filter, edits, or cuts, check out the Patreon. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the video. What's good, guys? Your boy, no mercy, 4K, doing mercy in the building. And back at your other banger reaction video. Today we got Game Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's, Burn Them All, Ultimate Timeline, man. I don't know why it took me so long to get to this, but we are here to check this out, man. We saw Game Theory, the Five Nights at Freddy's, like first two videos in the series, man. I'm not sure exactly how many videos are in the series, but we got the next part, part 3. I saw the first two parts of this Game Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, and man, it was pretty interesting from what I remember, but it was a minute ago. I don't know why we fell off. But let's check out part 3 right now, man. If you enjoyed this video, enjoy my reaction to it, and want to see me react to the next part, because I'm pretty sure there's at least another part. I think there's 4 parts in total. Unless there's more, let me know. But if you want to see me react to the next part of this Game Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, immediately smash like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I post every single day. Daily videos and bangers like this for you guys. But also, let me know in the comments, would you like to see me try a Five Nights at Freddy's game, bro? I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've never played no scary game in my life. Like, I hate horror. If you know, you know. Maybe you don't. But I'm actually debating maybe trying either like Five Nights at Freddy's or like Poppy Playtime. Those are some games that have been suggested to me, and I heard are like some not as super crazy in horror. So let me know, man. Would you like to see me try Five Nights at Freddy's here on in the future on the channel? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about this video down below in the comments as well. I hope you enjoy. Let's get it. Game Theory, Five Nights at Freddy's, Burn Them All.
Welcome to
Ultimate
Game
Timeline.
Theory and page 20
Check it
of
out.
our final FNAF timeline. This is getting ridiculous. Last time we covered William Afton's rise as a serial killer. How the loss of his young son
Afton
in
gotta go.
1983 caused him to make one fateful promise that would ultimately serve as his driving force for
Afton's
decades.
a bastard
They would
menace,
put you
man.
back together. Fueled by grief and obsession, Afton would lose himself in work and drinks. One night in a fit of rage, he lashes out against Henry's young daughter Charlie, his first murder. This moment becomes the first domino to fall in a long sequence of events that ultimately destroys William's life and the lives of those around him. That one murder gives Afton a taste for blood, resulting in the deaths of 10 more children across 2 different pizzerias. Those children go on to possess animatronics, giving Afton his first exposure to Remnant and the potential solution for bringing his son back to life. The need to learn more about this miraculous power leads him to produce the Funtime animatronics.
Yo, should I put... Oh my... Say goodbye. What is Remnant? I might have to put some subs on.
Around him. That one murder gives Afton a taste for blood, possess animatronics, giving Afton his first exposure to Remnant and the potential solution for bringing his son back to life. The need to learn more about this miraculous power leads him to produce the Funtime animatronics, as well as their capture devices. Robots designed to bring kids to him for experimentation and collection of more Remnant. Except there was one thing that he didn't account for. His daughter's curiosity. He made the robots too appealing.
Remember when we watched that shit in the theater? What do you mean you thought I was gonna cry? I was not that scared. Gabby's talking about that the last Five Nights at Freddy's movie, the last one that came out in theaters. Bro, I was not that scared. What are you talking about? You thought I was gonna cry? For experimentation and collection of more Remnant. Except there was one thing that he didn't account for: his daughter's curiosity. He made the robots too appealing, and it would cost him Elizabeth's life. Now with 2 children to put back together, Afton was more desperate and crazed than ever, returning to defunct pizzerias to steal the possessed metal still living inside their walls. What he didn't account for, though, were the ghosts, forcing him to pay for the sins of his past. When last we left him, William was spring-locked, bleeding to death behind a secret wall. Oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot. Yo. Nah, this shit actually gets deep. Yo, I forgot how deep in the last 2 videos this shit got. This dude was going crazy on some demon time and then ended up getting himself killed in a spring lock trap.
But certainly not fast. We left him.
First, you gotta play the games. Well, let me know, man. Yo, hit the like button. If you're seeing this video, smash the like button if you want to see me play this game, bro.
William was springless,
you want to see me try
bleeding to
Five Nights at
death
Freddy's.
behind a secret wall. Gone, but certainly not forgotten, as we're about to
Don't
see
lie.
in today's video.
Gabby, I was not crying.
Up chapter
I was not crying in the
Gone, but certainly
Five Nights at Freddy movie.
as we're about to see in today's video. Today we're
I was
finishing
not
up
that scared.
chapter 2 of our story, wrapping up the Afton era. Over the next 6 pages, we switch our focus to the other main character of the franchise, Mike, a young boy dealing with the fallout of a stupid childhood decision with tragic consequences. A young man whose life is best described as collateral damage, caught in the blast radius of William's whirlwind of destruction. Now, before we begin, let me just rip off the band-aid now. We won't be finishing the timeline today. I know. I'm sorry, I wanted to, but covering FNAF VR, AR, and Security Breach wound up taking me an additional 9 pages of script. And I've already made you wait long enough for this part, so I just had to make the executive call to break this one up into 2. Don't worry, that part is already written, it is already recorded, it is just in the process of being edited. It is a hefty episode. So mark it on your calendar, that one's actually going to be going live on March 25th.
Oh,
it's also coming complete with a live talk back where we go back over everything from the past couple episodes, as well as having ourselves some very special guests. So overall, that one should be a lot.
Will y'all want me to play Five Nights at Freddy's? And if I were to play Five Nights at Freddy's, where do I start? Like the very first Five Nights at Freddy's game, or do I start somewhere else? Or like
a lot of fun.
Where do you even start with that?
Though, the conclusions we've reached that solve Security Breach, they are controversial. I feel good about them. Like, I think that we've locked in on a lot of the answers here, but they're gonna raise a lot of discussion. Let's just say that you're either gonna love that.
Yo, what's good, love?
I don't really think.
What's up, love? How you doing, man?
A lot of discussion. Let's just say that you're either gonna love that episode or hate it. I don't really think there's gonna be much in between.
How you doing today, my guy?
Anyway, without any further ado, let's cover a chunk of the timeline that's a lot less controversial. Let's meet Mike.
Probably the first one. The first one sounds appropriate.
William still wasn't back. Weird. Michael knew his father sometimes traveled for work, disappearing for days on end, but usually there was some sort of notice, a phone call, a post-it, something. It's not like Michael and his father were close, far from it, but as a household of 2 suffering men coping with years of tragedy and loss, there was at least some element of communication between the 2 of them. They were united by a name and a shared pain. This time though, things felt different. William had left nothing. His absence was longer. There were no check-ins, no updates, just silence. Something had happened. If there was one thing Michael knew about his father, it was that he had contingencies, safety checks, backup plans. His father was a careful and guarded man. He held his cards close to his chest, and as such, William had prepared him in the event that something like this ever happened. Normally, his father kept his home office locked, but in the event of an unexpected, prolonged absence, Michael had been instructed to enter his father's office and look behind an empty set of shelves mounted in the corner of the room. Rolling his eyes, Michael entered the office.
Hell nah,
Never fully understood how William was able to spend so many hours of his days locked up.
I'll be scared of shit.
There was just nothing to do. Most of this place was empty. He dragged himself over to the shelf in the corner, expecting to find an emergency contact list, a family safety deposit box. But what he actually found there was completely unexpected.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be.
The shelf swung open and revealed a giant industrial elevator, one that led straight down into an underground bunker. But that was impossible. Hidden inside his childhood home was a secret entrance to an enormous underground science lair?
What kind of fucking CIA secret shit is this?
It didn't make any sense. And yet, here it was, mapped directly underneath the floor plan.
Bro, some underground bunker. How you just got mad bread to create an underground bunker in an elevator in your home, like a secret bunker at a secret elevator? I just got that much bread made as a millionaire or something.
Didn't make any sense. And
I remember playing Five Nights at Freddy's in elementary. Damn, really?
Here it was.
I never tried it.
Directly underneath the
floor
plan of the house.
It was already around in elementary.
Lost his brother in, been tortured in. Michael thought that he'd known his father, a prideful.
Wait, what?
Here it was, mapped directly underneath the floor plan of the house that he'd grown up in. Lost his brother in, been tortured in. Michael thought that he'd known his father, a prideful, sad, angry man with petty everyday problems, but clearly he'd been living with a stranger this entire time. His father had secrets. Suddenly, the days of William being locked inside of his office made sense. He'd been here the entire time. Where was here, though? Was this Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals? The Circus Baby restaurant always did seem to be a deeply personal project for father. A failure of his that cut unusually deep, especially after that first location had to be closed prematurely due to the gas leaks. After that day, father really did seem to change, to lose himself even more in his work. Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the facility, one that
wow, there's a 10 plus almost 20-year-old franchise.
More in his After that day, Father really did seem to
I never knew about Five Nights at Freddy's until like a couple years ago.
Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the
like 5
facility,
years ago.
one that required crawling through vents to navigate. His father had been working here, but in secret. Why? And that's when he found her. At the end of the facility, Circus Baby. His father's pride and joy. Except something was different about her. She wasn't like the others. The way she talked, the stories she told. This wasn't just a robot. She was alive somehow.
Boy, that bit creepy as fuck.
Was she alive? She also felt familiar.
There is something bad inside of me. I'm broken. I can't be fixed. Will you help me?
Was this his sister? William's baby girl? But
bro,
how? Why? What was this place? He dug
Alive
out
is
some
crazy.
old files and found blueprints outlining the features of these animatronics. Storage containers, voice mimicking, parental tracking. And was that a child in Freddy's stomach? Was his father collecting and experimenting on kids? Were all the rumors that he'd heard throughout his past actually true? That the animatronics came to life at night? That there were murders done in all the pizzerias? That his father had somehow been the prime suspect in all of it? Suddenly, Michael's mind flashed back to his persistent nightmares.
Yeah, your father was a bastard. Your father was a psychopath, a maniac, a lunatic, a bastard.
All of it. Suddenly, Michael's mind flashed back to his persistent nightmares throughout his childhood. Had he been experimented on too? Tears stung in his eyes as anger, fear, and confusion filled his body. His father's secrets were pouring out. William wasn't just a lame, overworked father. He was a monster, toying with life itself. Suddenly, everything clicked. He frantically looked around the room, blinking human heads on poles staring back at him. Green eyes, his sister. Blue eyes, his brother. Closed eyes, his mom. All just staring, expectantly. These were meant to be human. William was working down here trying to make...
Well, this shit is creepy as fuck. What you mean he got heads of with the eyeballs, bro?
Believable humans, literally meant to be
of
human.
Your family,
William
man.
was working down here trying to make believable humans, literally rebuilding the family that they had both lost. The small little girl robots with their British accents roaming the hallways of this underground facility suddenly took on a whole new context.
Hello in there. Is it the same person?
Were those meant to be his sister? A replacement for her? A clone? Was William building clones of his sister?
Oh
they seemed to know him, after all, to react to his presence.
They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but
oh
then
my God,
they thought
bro.
it was you.
He always did have a bit of a resemblance to his father. Michael's mind reeled as the reality of his world crumbled to dust. No, he had to get them out of there. If this really was his sister, heck, if any of these things were human, souls, whatever remnant of the humans that they once were, they needed to be rescued.
They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here.
Led by the voice of Circus Baby, he marched through the now empty halls of the Funtime Auditorium. He would lead them. He would protect them. And finally, he would be able to forgive himself for the killing of his brother so many years.
You are in the scooping room now.
What?
The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Scooper?
What?
That violent extraction arm? Michael had seen that one in the pile of blueprints. Something about
they killed my guy?
The magical silver metal inside useless. In reality, prior to getting himself spring-locked and put behind the wall, William's methods had become increasingly sophisticated. With a mechanized arm that could infuse new bodies with a soul, William could finally give and take away life. The only thing he needed were spring-locked and put behind the wall, William's methods had become increasingly sophisticated. With a mechanized arm that could infuse new bodies with a soul, William could finally give and take
an arm that can infuse bodies? A freaking what?
Life. The only thing he needed were the bodies. But William wasn't the only one looking for bodies, as Michael was about to learn.
But if we looked like you, then we could hide.
Oh, hell no.
If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Michael was going to be the hero to help these animatronics, all right. He was going to help the haunted tubes and wires of these animatronics escape, just not the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him. Another game of pretend. The scooper plowed forward, digging its extraction arm into his body. As he heard his bones ripping through his flesh, Michael blacked out.
Yo, Trey! What's poppin', my guy? What's good, Trey? How you doing, man? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear you were in nonsense. Bro, I hope you're feeling better, bro. I don't know what's going on with you, bro. But I know you were telling us you were in the hospital, man. Hope you're feeling better, bro. Thank you for the W, not saying 50, bro. How you doing, man? Thank you for the W, big 50. Appreciate you, my guy. What's good, bro? What's up, Trey? Bro. I ain't gonna lie. For a second, I thought I was ASAP about to say some stupid shit. For a second, I thought it was ASAP about to say something dumb.
Go.
You feel me? Oh, you got Kobe? Oh shit, man. Yo, hopefully you feel better soon, bro. Hey, man, you got a sickness right now, bro. Hopefully you
Michael
feel better
was going
soon,
to be
man.
the hero to help these animatronics, all right. He was going to help the haunted tubes and wires of these animatronics.
I just came back.
Nah, ASAP, I was saying that you my guy, bro. I fuck with you heavy, bro. You're the GOAT.
What's
Simple.
up?
You feel me? I'm saying that you the GOAT, man. Know what I'm saying? I thought Trey sent a bit, and I thought it was you because you're just so goated, bro. You be sending bits all the time. I just thought it was you, man.
Animatronics escaped,
Fuck with
just
you, man.
not the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him. Michael was going to be the hero to help these animatronics, all right. He was going to help the haunted
But nah, bro. We watching some Five Nights at Freddy's game theory right now, by the way, chat. If you just tuned in, Trey, we just watching
wires
some
of these animatronics
game
escaped,
theory right now.
just not the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him. Another game of pretend. The scooper plowed forward, digging its extraction arm into his body. As he heard his bones ripping through his flesh, Michael blacked out.
But something
Bro!
is wrong with me. I should be dead.
Nah, bro. I would have never went down there.
For the next several months, Michael's life was not his own. He was forced to comply with a tangle of wires and spirits that lived inside of him. His body felt like an overfilled balloon begging to burst as day by day, week by week, his flesh began to sag and discolor. He was a walking, talking, rotting corpse, alive, but wishing he wasn't. He was a puppet, a walking shell. And while he did his best to conceal his fate,
Mercy getting spooked already.
Bro, they had his body walking around rotting.
began to sag and discolor. He was a walking, talking,
Bro.
rotting corpse, alive, but wishing he wasn't. He was a puppet, a walking shell. And while he did his best to conceal his fate, there was only so much a man filled with robot spaghetti could do. The entity in his innards would eventually leave, but by that point, the damage had been done. His decaying flesh stank, turning him into a literal purple guy. But still, even with no bones, even with rotting purple flesh and begging to die, Michael continued to live. That silvery metal remnant injected by the scooper meant that he couldn't die. His anger also refused to die. What he had seen down there in his sister's location had rocked him to his core. His father had killed and captured dozens. His experiments had killed his sister and then tortured him throughout all his childhood. He was actively trying to build human replicants. He didn't know where his father was, but Michael knew that he was out there somewhere.
I've been living in shadows.
Yo, Frenzy, thank you, bro.
One thing left for me
Have a go,
to do
man.
now. I'm going to come find you.
Michael had to correct for the sins of his father. He had to make things right. Michael would burn Fazbear Entertainment to the ground. I mean, what else could you do when your skin was permanently purple? Michael's strategy was simple. He would apply for night security guard positions at the old defunct pizzeria locations. That way, no one ever had to see him or smell him during his shift. And all these old shuttered locations did need guards. Teenage vandals and squatters were always looking to get inside these abandoned buildings, and yet no one ever really wanted to work an overnight graveyard shift unless they were practically out of options. Enter Mike. One by one, he would take on the job of security guard, changing his name.
Yo, who's hiring somebody with... Bro, who's hiring somebody with putrid, rotting skin, though? You getting some rotting skin? Who's gonna hire...
really wanted to work in
somebody that looks like a zombie right now.
They were practically out of options. Enter Mike. One by one, he would take on the job of security guard, changing his name each time to ensure that no one was able to follow his paper trail. Once inside, he could tamper with the animatronics and figure out how they worked, writing about his experiences in his security logbook. While there, he would listen to the old tapes where upper management awkwardly welcomed new recruits to their summer jobs, even though he was working there nowhere near the summer months. He heard the gory details of his father's franchise from the outsiders looking in, confused and afraid about what was happening in the walls around them. Sometimes he would see his brother in the form of the Golden Freddy suit. It's me appearing on the walls around him. Except now, there was something else there. He was no longer alone. Another angry...
Tremorda_7 has gifted 5 subs to viewers.
Yo, why did the... Yo! Trey, thank you for the W5 gibbons! Bro, why that scared me? Bro, that's crazy. Yo, that shit, that notification from Trey just scared the fuck out of me, bro. That actually startled me, bro. That gave me like a jump scare, I ain't gonna lie. Trey, thank you for the W5 giftings, bro. Damn. Damn, yo, W mans. But yo, thank you guys for the W bits and the W subs, man. I appreciate y'all, bro. Thank you for that that little hype train, man. I don't know if it's gonna continue, but thank you guys
he was
for
no
real.
longer alone. Another angrier presence was also in the suit, as if
Shout out
two
to ever
spirits
being
were
here, man.
forced to share the same body.
W-chat,
And Golden Freddy
WNMG.
would attack him now. It was
Wait, what?
something else there. The form of the Golden Freddy suit.
W-chat,
It's me appearing on the
WNMG,
walls
man.
around him. Except
Thank you,
now
guys.
there was something else there. He was no longer alone. Another angrier presence was also in the suit, as if two spirits were forced to share the same body.
What?
And Golden Freddy would attack him now. It was aggressive. Its vengeance wanted to lash out at anyone with the Afton name.
What?
Anyone who wore a security guard outfit. Over time, Mike worked his way through the old restaurants. The original pizzeria, the bigger, better Freddy Fazbear's. He spent weeks there looking for clues as to his father's whereabouts. And each time at the end of his week shift, he would then set the location on fire. Remnant can't survive high temperatures after all. So burning away whatever spirit-laden animatronics that still existed inside seemed like a winning strategy. All this revisiting of his past, though, was causing the nightmares to begin again. Hallucinations that brought him back to his childhood. The guilt around killing his brother. His dreams were oddly mixed with the shrill phone calls of the security guards. But it would all be worth it in the end. The goal was to eventually stumble across the one location, the one job that would finally reunite him with his father. Little did Mike know that that day would come sooner than he expected. 2023, an advertisement came across Mike's TV. Fazbear Frights, a new horror attraction inspired by the awful crimes that occurred around
Bro, this
Freddy
shit is
Fazbear's
scary
Pizza
as hell,
so many years
man.
ago. It made Mike sick. People looking to make a quick buck off the tragedy of others, off his own family. This wasn't a joke or entertainment. Regardless, he had to be a part of it. If this team was combing through his family's history, they might stumble across something that could be useful. And if his father was truly still alive as he suspected, there would be no way that he wouldn't show up here. Maybe finally this could be the final chapter in his family's marathon of tragedy. Mike applied for the job and was immediately handed the keys. Years of doing this had taught him that security guards rarely receive thorough security checks. They also liked how creepy Mike looked. They thought it was a costume, on theme for the job. What little they knew.
Hey, glad you came back.
They thought that his body and his rotting flesh and rotting skin was a costume? Really?
This had taught him that security
That's what I'm saying. Like, how would he get jobs? How can he be normal, walk around the normal world when his body apparently has decayed and rotted and his skin has rotted away?
guards
How he getting jobs?
rarely receive thorough
hired,
security checks.
living,
They also
going
liked how
along
creepy
through life.
Mike looked. They thought it was a costume, on theme for the job. What little they knew.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time.
For weeks, there was nothing. But just as Mike considered giving up, he received the call that he'd been waiting for years.
You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one.
Could this finally be him? Sure enough, there he was. William inside his iconic golden body.
What the fuck?
Springlock suit, only now it was green and decaying with age. And there they were, a small family of broken men finally reunited. It's been a long time, Dad. Mike had always struggled with the phantoms of his past finally reunited.
Bro.
It's been a long time, Dad. Mike had always struggled with the phantoms of his past haunting him, but now all the animatronics he'd encountered over the past months, hopping from pizzeria to pizzeria, suddenly sprang to life. Their burned faces haunting him as he tried to keep track of his father on the cameras. It would seem that William's mere presence had put the spirits on high alert. Ultimately,
Oh my
they were
God.
harmless, more annoying than anything else, but there was one that felt different from the others.
Bro,
One
these
that
shit's
was more
fucking
than
scary,
just a mere
man.
phantom. The security puppet. If he looked at the cameras at just the right moment,
Bro! Bro, what the fuck is going on here, man? Nah, Mercy, you gotta play Finance at Freddy's? Oh, yeah?
Tremorda_7 has gifted a sub to GGMain51.
Y'all ever seen that LeBron meme that is like, he's like these? I can't believe this is my life. Yo, Trey, I can't believe you going crazy like this today, Trey. Bro, I can't believe you going crazy like this, Trey.
I want to see something shake. Trey is shaking the stream tonight.
What do you mean by that?
one that was more
What do you mean you want to see something shake? Bro, pause. You just got
than
pause.
just a mere fan.
Just pause,
This
man.
else, but there
Yo, what's up, Ghetto? What we doing? Oh, Ghetto, you've been gone for a little bit. We watching Game Theory, Finance at Freddy's Game Theory Ultimate Timeline right now. My God,
was one that felt different.
bro, on me, big pause. Pause, bro. But yo, thank you so much, Trey, for the W gifted, bro. And thank you for the bits, man.
Geta is back.
Chat, I think we got 7 subs, bro. I think we got 7 subs today. Bruh, chat. We have been not getting subs like that. I don't remember the last time we got some subs like this, man. Shout out to you guys, bro. Trey, thank you again. Thank you, Saying ASAP for the bits, bro. Bruh.
From the
Thank you, bro.
Trey is feeling generous today.
On me.
W-mans.
On me. And chat, we still got Peak to react to, man. We're literally in the middle of this Finance at Freddy's video, but after this, we literally got Peak, Gurren Lagann. You know what I'm saying? We got Gurren Lagann back to back, and then we got Bleach Shazir Brother War and Dragon Ball Z. Like,
that was more.
We got Peak after this shit, man. Yo, a Green Show, welcome to the stream, man. A Green Show, welcome to the stream. Good evening, bro. Good afternoon, bro. Good evening, whatever it is for you, bro. Thank you for tuning in. How you doing?
The security puppet. If he looked at the cameras at just the right moment,
What the fuck is this? What is that?
that was more harmless, more annoying than anything else. But there was one that
Wait. Good day,
felt
mate. Yes,
different from
sir.
the others. One
Good
that
day,
was
mate.
more than just a mere annoying than anything else.
Good
But
day,
there
mate.
was one that felt different from the others. One that was
Thank you
more
guys
than
so
just
much,
a mere
chat.
phantom. The security puppet. If he looked at the cameras at just the right moment, he could see it floating there through the halls. He could even see its reflection in the water pooled on the ground. It would seem like he wasn't the only one there on a mission. While he was dealing with Springtrap, Michael assumed that this one was likely
Yo.
dealing with the spirits of this place, finally setting him to rest. Hopefully this means a happier day for all of us, Mike thought to
What?
himself. And in that moment, he felt the air around him release, like pressure being let out of a bottle. The building sighed, as if 5 spirits had finally been allowed to move on. He had the sense that his brother was a part of them. He rigged the wiring inside the building to misfire, and the dry, desiccated walls erupted in flames. It is finished. Except, it was not.
I'm doing well.
Somehow, through sheer force of will.
Oh, yo, this is a new account? Oh, it's a different Twitch account. Okay, yo, what's up, Mad? Do you want me to call you Mad or do you want me to call you Green? You let me know. You know what I'm saying? How you rather
Except,
be referred
it
to?
was not.
Thank you for
Somehow,
tuning in,
through
though, man.
sheer force of will, Afton remained. He had survived, and Mike would need
Bruh.
to find a new way of finishing off his father. Luckily, the
No
solution would
way.
present itself later that year. Not from Mike, but from another victim that had been left in his father's wake.
We're talking about becoming a Fazbear entertainer.
Rolling on the floor laughing, shout out to all y'all. Our body
Yo.
fucking funny, especially Mercy.
Yo. Nah, 750 bits, bro?
Hi.
Damn,
Mr.
bruh.
Green.
W Trey, bro. W ASAP. ASAP, thank you for the 10 bits, too, bro. Yo, Trey with a big 750 bits, man. W Trey, bro. Appreciate you, my guy. W Mans, W Mans. W Mans,
Another
W
victim
Trey.
that had been left in his father's wake.
We're talking about becoming a Fazbear entertainment
Trey going
franchisee.
stupid
Restaurant
today.
ownership and
The fucking
management.
goat.
Something almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. You are now the face of the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Fazbear Entertainment as a brand had been closed for years. William had been stuck in a suit and a wall. The only person who legally could bring the franchise back was Henry, but he'd largely pulled out of the franchise around the time of his father's disappearance. Something was up. Surely this had to be some kind of a trick, right? Mike, doing what he did best, applied for a franchise and immediately got the job. There was just one thing out of the ordinary. Paragraph 4.
If you are playing this tape, that means that not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you have found something that meets the criteria.
Thank you for that follow, bro. Appreciate that. 812799. That's a pretty crazy. Just your name is just a number, but yo, thank you for that follow, man.
If you are playing this tape,
Appreciate
that
you, bro.
means that not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do,
Welcome
but
to the
also
stream,
that you have
welcome.
found something that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
No employment contract he'd ever signed required him to keep special lookout for independently moving animatronics outside the restaurant. Now he knew something was up here. Henry was luring them all back. Rather than trying to go to them, like Mike Mike had done for years, Henry was doing the opposite. He was putting them all under the same roof. He was finishing them off for good. Mike knew this wasn't meant to be a restaurant. It was meant to be a prison, a containment vessel, a locked box meant to trap them all in so they could finally end the madness. It took a few nights, but eventually everyone was there. His father, the puppet, the robot spaghetti that had once violated his body, and his sister, now hopelessly devoted to serve the man that had once gotten her killed. It was time. He had been instructed to seal the doors and leave, but while he locked everything down, he didn't move on. If this was truly meant to be the end, if the remnant needed to be washed away, he needed to be a part of that.
This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job
this is crazy,
not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace and perhaps more waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
And with that, it was over. The Afton legacy died with all of them trapped inside of a literal box. As the flames danced around the office, Mike, for the first time in decades, was happy. But William wasn't gone yet. Although the darkest pit of hell was open and waiting for him, something or someone wouldn't allow him to move on. Instead, he found himself locked in moments from his past. The pizzeria, his son's room, his underground bunker. It was as if his brain's neurons were all firing at once, overloaded, mixing and matching all his biggest fears, regrets, failures. What was this place? How did he get here? He called out into the silence. Then they started coming. Without warning, animatronics, both new and old, began to jump out at him, bite him, rip him limb from limb. The pain was immeasurable. Make it stop. Make it stop. William, for the first time, longed for death, an end to this torture. Just as it felt like he couldn't take it anymore, everything was quiet again. It was as if the world had been reset. There was a brief moment of quiet, and then the onslaught began again. Dozens of faces from his past all focused on him. A waking nightmare that he couldn't escape from. More pain, more ripping. It was his own personal hell. But why? Why couldn't he just die? And then he saw them, a group of characters he never thought he'd see again. Those janky, stolen characters that had started everything. The mediocre melodies. It had all started to go wrong once they showed up. Once Henry had made them. But mixed in with their obnoxious southern drawls, William heard something else. It was barely a whisper, but he could just make out the words.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here.
Bro, what?
No matter how many times they burn us.
Fuck out of here, bro. What kind of shit is this?
He knew that voice, but from where?
Greetings from the fire, and from the one you should not have killed.
The one he shouldn't have killed. William thought back. He'd done a lot of awful things, but there was always the one that stood out. Not Charlie, his drunken act of revenge. Not Susie, his first true murder. No. Instead, it was the one that he had lost control with. The one that he had broken beyond repair for no good reason other than because he could. The one that he'd stuffed inside the golden bear that his partner used to wear. Cassidy. They were back, and now they were trying to punish him, to make him suffer like he'd made them suffer. It was almost like William and Cassidy's souls had been locked together, fused by a collective rage and spite, each refusing to move on. But while Cassidy was so focused on taking revenge, they actually did the one thing that would be the downfall for so many others. They kept William alive. Even though fire should have destroyed the remnant that was coursing through his being, Cassidy kept William breathing, paving the way for his escape. William's will was so strong, his soul so powerful that he managed to put a part of himself inside the circuitry that housed the spring-locked suit. And there, his consciousness lay, inside a single circuit board, waiting for someone to find him and set him free. A person that no one would suspect. Okay, so a bit of a shorter chunk, but an important one as we shift perspectives to Mike and tell his side of the story. And with FNAF VR, AR, and Security Breach having so much to explain, I didn't want to rush through things by trying to cram it all in here. Don't worry, I know you've all been patient. The final video is happening on March 25th. That is locked. It is getting ready to go. Trust me, I want this thing to be over and done with as much as you. I am not just stretching it out for the views. But before we wrap up for the day, I did want to talk about the big Orville elephant in the room, Mike's quest for revenge. You might have noticed that I was vague about the dates, and there's a good reason for that. I don't know him. There is no good way for me to make them fit in. Here's what I do know. We know with a high amount of certainty that Michael Afton is the character that we play as up until Ultimate Custom Night. Mike Schmidt and Fritz Smith, the security guards for FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 respectively, get fired for, quote, tampering with the animatronics and odor. So weird connection between the two of them, right? But now, the phantom animatronics that are haunting us in FNAF 3. They use models from both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, meaning whoever is sitting in that security guard chair, Fazbear Frights, they have to have seen both locations and their animatronics. And that's not all. Their designs are burnt. It's a weird detail in the game, and it's something that the character encyclopedia repeatedly calls attention to. The burned texture for these phantom animatronics. Why is that so unusual though? Fazbear Frights is the first time in the franchise that we hear about anything burning down. From that point on in the story, it's like the characters turn pyro and are suddenly setting fires left and right. But for the first 3 games, nothing ever catches fire. The animatronics are just moved or repurposed in some way. So when did they burn? And why would our security guards see them as being burned? Someone has to have been going location to location, setting these places on fire, purging the sins of the past. We know we're definitely playing as Mike and Sister Location in FNAF 6 based on the in-game dialogue. And in FNAF 4, there's an Easter egg where we can hear the phone call from Night 1 of FNAF 1, meaning that whoever's in that bedroom has heard the recording as a security guard. We on the in-game dialogue. And in FNAF 4, there's an Easter egg where we can hear the phone call from Night 1 of FNAF 1, meaning that whoever's in that bedroom has heard the recording as a security guard. We also know that Mike has seen the nightmare animatronics based on his drawings in the security logbook. So overall, there is solid evidence that connects all of FNAFs 1 through 6. You'll also notice how the character encyclopedia doesn't have a page for Mike Afton. This thing has a page for Chocolate Bunny Bonnie, but not Michael. Some tells me they don't want us to confirm how many games he's been in, because that would confirm too much of the theory. In short, this gives us an incredibly compelling and complete narrative. Mike as our protagonist and William, his father, as our antagonist. Mike accidentally kills his brother in Fredbear's mouth, which begins our story and sets William down his pathway of destruction. Mike is then haunted by the guilt of his past and is looking to make things right across the rest of the games. In Sister Location, he learns what his father's been up to and realizes what he has to do to correct it. After failing to finish the job in FNAF 3, he ultimately helps Henry end it all in FNAF 6. It is great. It is a clean narrative. There is just one problem: timing. Mike's quest can't really start until he's been down to Sister Location, seen Baby, and gotten himself scooped. That's when he finds out about Afton's secret life. It's also when he's gonna start to smell, because, you know, he's a walking, talking, rotting corpse. And we know that he's not going down into the bunker until the Funtime animatronics have been made, Freddy's has been closed, and Afton is out of the picture. That all should be happening post-1993, after William is sealed behind a wall. But that then presents us with a few problems. Afton has already dismantled the original animatronics as we see in the FNAF 3 minigames. How are those things getting burned if they're already deconstructed? But more importantly, we see FNAF 2 paychecks with the date 1987. That is way earlier than I think it can be. To be fair, Fritz Smith's pink slip on night 7 doesn't have a date, but it's a bit weird to say that the first few nights are in 1987 and then employee number 3 is hired on years after the restaurant closes. Anyway, just wanted to call that out because I don't have a solid answer for it, and I'd love to see your comments down below. And with that, my friends, this chapter comes to a close. We'll see you on March 25th for the grand finale as we cover the final 3 games in the franchise and the controversial answers we think.
Alright, so I think that's it, bro. Shout out to Game Theory, bro. This is a very interesting video, bro. Finance at Freddy's Burn Them All. Part 3 of the ultimate timeline of the Game Theory Finance at Freddy's, man. Very interesting video. It's just crazy stuff, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This is creepy ass shit. Bro, Finance at Freddy's deadass is like crazy, bro. It's insane to me that kids are really playing and watching and into like games like this, into like Finance at Freddy's, into like, what's that, Poppy Playtime? Excuse me. Bro, I'm scared as hell of this stuff. Bro, I do not like horror at all. And there's some creepy stuff going on here, man. This dude, William Afton, is a bastard. Getting his kids all killed, getting his kid Mike involved. This dude Mike just got killed. Apparently this dude got freaking scooped, whatever that means. Mike got scooped, whatever that means. Started rotting to... Bro, this shit crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Let's see what's happening in the next one, bro. If you enjoy this video, enjoy my reaction, want to see me react to the finale, I think he said the next part of the Finance at Freddy's Game Theory Ultimate Timeline is the finale. If you want to see me react to the finale, the next reaction, next video of this part, immediately smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I post every single day. But also let me know in the comments, do you want to see me play this game? Do you want to see me try playing Finance at Freddy's ever in the future? I might just have to do it, man. If you guys show enough non-saying interest and want me to, like, there's enough of you guys hitting the like button, commenting, want to see me play, I might decide to do it, man. But thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down below. And if you made it till the end of this video, let me know by commenting. Shit, L. William, bro. L. Afton. You know what I'm saying? This dude Afton, started all this bullshit. Oh, Afton in the chat. Oh, Afton in the comments. Me until the video. Some know. I'll see you guys in the next one. I guess today.
Shout out to my guy Mercy. Y'all already know I'm NMG for life. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel and check out his reactions.